How's it going, everyone? It's your boy, Camden McDonald, the Autistic Historian. In the past, I told you all how much I know and love about Titanic, and I decided to do a video where I did a Titanic quiz. But I unintentionally stumbled upon the most hilarious and unserious Titanic quiz I have ever heard. Here's a couple clips. So Titanic was on its steward. A voyage is a floating piece of ice. On top of your hair? That's a cup. I see a voyage. Voyage right ahead. Yeah, you can tell it didn't really go so well. But at least I got every single question right, so that's the good thing. So I finally decided, let's take things seriously and do an actual Titanic quiz. But not on YouTube, but on a browser. So let's get right into it and see how well I truly know Titanic. Alrighty. Hi, Facecam. Okay, so I searched up Titanic quiz, and we're gonna see what quizzes I can do at the moment, because if I were to try and do all of them, which I'm pretty sure there's like a billion quizzes out there, then we're gonna be here for over 5 hours or something like that. Okay, so I'm guessing we'll start with this one, because it's, well, right here. Okay. Cracking my knuckles, getting ready. Gonna use all my brain power. Okay, just kidding. I'm gonna use less of my brain power, because this is honestly my best subject that I know of. Let's start it. How many bathtubs were available for third-class passengers? Okay, so this is gonna be coming as a shock to many of you, but there was actually Wait, time? I'm timed? Okay, I was not informed of that. Well, that's embarrassing. Well, yeah, the answer is 2. For over 1,000 third-class people, there were only 2 available bathtubs. Well, yeah, it makes sense considering that third-class people were just poor immigrants traveling to America, and many people just wanted to capitalize on that, so they just didn't want to spend too much money on accommodating, like, wealthy stuff for them, because, well, they're poor. So they were treated kind of poorly back then, for obvious reasons, because they were poor. So yeah. Okay, 10 seconds. How many lifeboats did the Titanic have? Okay, so it had 20. And it could have carried around 64 lifeboats, but that is if the Board of Trade Regulations had the option for the Titanic to do so. But because of laws that stated that the number of lifeboats is not only based on the size of the ship, not how many passengers it could carry, but because of how lifeboats worked back then, the Titanic was forced to only carry 20. Because back then, lifeboats were seen to ferry people to a rescue ship and not keep the entire ship's population afloat. But obviously it was the Titanic disaster that revealed a flaw that said, hey, if you're sinking and there's no other ships near you, then you need to keep all of the ship's population afloat, because otherwise they're all gonna freeze to death. And the Titanic was a perfect example of that, so that's what caused the Board of Trade Regulations to change. And now today, all ships are required to have more than enough lifeboats on board so they can help keep the entire ship's population afloat. Which of the following is not on the ship? Squash court, basket. Okay, that one's easy. That's funny. Just imagine you're in the middle of the sea on Titanic's maiden voyage, and you tell your bros, hey, why not do a game of b-ball while we're waiting to reach New York? Oh my gosh. That one's also easy because I don't think basketball existed at the time. Okay, I think basketball was invented in the 1800s. I think it was invented back then, but I don't think it really was though, but if it had, then I'm pretty sure it wasn't popularized at the time. But correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure basketball wasn't invented back then. Well, a citation will appear now if I'm correct. How long did it take to build the Titanic? It took 3 years. Shocking. As Titanic sank, which wealthy passenger changed into formal attire and reportedly said, we are dressed in our best and are prepared to go down like gentlemen? That would be Benjamin Guggenheim, which you could see in the partially deleted scene from Titanic. I say partially because one snippet of it was actually cut from the film where Astor and Guggenheim actually met each other in the Grand Staircase. But the part where Guggenheim said, we are dressed in our best and are prepared to go down as gentlemen, was kept in the film. What was the first boat to reach the scene of the Titanic sinking? That would be the Carpathia. So the Frankfurt was in the area, but unfortunately wasn't able to get there in time because they were 150 miles away. Californian was the closest, around 19 to 20 miles away. But due to the wireless operator being asleep, distress rockets from the Titanic not being fired at the right time, and the crew being confused as to what they were seeing in the distance, they didn't really know what to do. And it wasn't until after the ship sank that they finally realized what happened and went to Titanic's coordinates to see if they could pick up any survivors, to which they could not. After the ship broke in two, how long did it take for the bow to reach the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean? 6 minutes? Okay. I was about to speak, but I'm like, hold on, there's a timer, I have to answer. So, I heard mixed feelings about this, but, because I've heard like 10 minutes, 13 minutes, 5 minutes, but looking at the options, I said 6 minutes because I heard one person said 5 minutes, so I'm like, okay, 6 minutes, that's probably the best one I could do because it's the closest. Yeah, I've heard mixed thoughts about it, because people say like she sank at 10 miles an hour, 30 miles an hour, it varies. So honestly, we'll probably never really know for sure because of how much conflicting information people say about it there is out there, but regardless. How many Academy Awards did the film Titanic win? It won 11. Pretty shocking. That lets you know it's a good film. Well, it's a decent film, I would say. I know, shoot me. But I would say that while it is good at portraying certain parts of the disaster and accurate for the 90s, yeah, that's the point. Accurate for the 90s. Because today we have much more information out there. And many questionable scenes in the film, the love story, and overall certain aspects of it that kind of make certain people look like the villain, like Joseph Bruce Ismay and in a deleted scene, John Phillips. But that's off topic and we're getting sidetracked. When was the wreck of the Titanic discovered? 1985, more specifically September 1st, 1985. In 2013, the violin belonging to Titanic's band leader Wallace Hartley sold for how much at an auction? 1.7 million. Yeah, that one's easy. And if I'm correct, this Wallace Hartley's violin was the most expensive Titanic artifact sold at an auction. I might be wrong about that, but I'll fact check it later. 9 right. Technically, I got 10 right. That was because of the stupid timer. I was not informed that there was a timer there because I was speaking to you guys. I did not see a timer there. So technically, I got 10 right. Ugh, dear. Alrighty, well that one was pretty rigged in my opinion, because it forced me to get the first question wrong because I was unaware at the time. Another Britannia one, or is this gonna be the same one? Oh no, it's not. 7 questions. Okay, there we go. It says timer, so now I know. Alrighty. How many people died in the Titanic disaster? Okay, so in reality, it was 1,496, but people round up, and it's more common information that it's 1,500. But now that you know it's 1,496, now the moderators who control this will know to switch it in the future. How long was the Titanic? You've got to be joking me. You have got to be joking me. I am not good with meters. It's one of these two. 270? Oh. Listen, I am no British subject. I am an American. I use feet. I do not use meters. So how are you expecting me to know the exact meters? Yeah, 882 feet 5? No, it's 882 feet 9. And, okay, so that's 269. So you're still wrong because you're rounding it up. Whatever. How many trips across the ocean did RMS Titanic make before it sank? This is a trick question. None. Because you might be thinking, wait a second, it made 1. It only made 1. Before it sank. And FYI, 1 means it made it. Titanic didn't make it, so none. The last survivor of the Titanic died in 2009. That was Milvina Dean at the age of 97. She was only 2 or 6 months old when she and her family boarded the Titanic. If I'm correct, she and her mother survived, but her father did not. What sank the Titanic? Another ship, coral reef, or torpedo. All of these seem like the right options. Oh, okay, you know I'm joking. It's obviously an iceberg. That one is too easy. Because that's common knowledge. Although conspiracy theorists would like you to believe that the Titanic sank because of a fire and the iceberg, but that is false, fake, finito. We are moving on. Forget it ever happened. Which of these was a sister ship of the Titanic? Olympic, Horrific, Pacific, Majestic? The Olympic. I've never heard of the Horrific before, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Horrific had a horrific tragedy occurred to it. I know, cringe. We're moving on. How many people survived the sinking of the Titanic? Okay, so obviously this is another one of those common knowledge things, but in reality it's inaccurate. 705, but in reality it was 712. But I guess common knowledge people took 705, or maybe it was taken from a newspaper. Excuse me. I don't know the true story behind it, but people today all say 705, but in reality it was 712. Easy. Give me a harder challenge. Okay, yeah, that one was too easy. Okay, this next one, Titanic quiz. How much do you know about the ship? Titanic quiz. That is okay. For a second, I thought this was a photo, but no, it's a drawing. I know. My eyes are having a hard time adjusting. That's why I need these things. Great photo. Alrighty, let's start. What were the names of the trio of ships commissioned by the White Star Line on which work began in 19... Okay, there's no timer. Okay, so I can take my precious time this time. Take my precious time this time? My grammar is not working. Okay. Artemis Olympic, Artemis Titanic, Artemis Britannic. That one is true. Artemis Gigantic, Titanic, and Dynamic. The Dynamic? I've never heard of a ship called the Dynamic, but that's kind of funny. Titanic, Dynamic, Heroic? Heroic or Heronic? I am so stupid. The Gigantic, Titanic, and Majestic. Obviously, it's Titanic, Olympic, and Britannic. I mean, these percentages look weird, but I'll give it a pass, considering not many people know that the Titanic had two other sister ships. So I'll give them a light pass because many people are probably confused, like, wait, Titanic had what? There was a trio of ships? Wait, they were tied to it? What? Yeah, I get it. Which of these statements is false? Okay, so we're getting on conspiracy theory levels. This should be good. Titanic had its own newspaper. That is actually true. Titanic had 4 electric elevators right behind the grand staircase, which is true. Titanic had a cinema. Doubt it. Titanic had a gymnasium. Okay, this one's easy. A cinema. I was about to say cinemas didn't exist back in 1912. Actually, did they? Because I know the first film, which wasn't... Actually? Because one of the first animated films came out in 1908, but I don't think a cinema would be built specifically for people to watch stuff like that. Actually, that is a good question. I'll have to fact check it later. How many lifeboats were on board the Titanic? Obviously 20. We discussed this before, so I'm not going to waste your time. What was the name of the naval architect who sailed on board Titanic and after the collision informed the captain that the ship would sink within 2 hours? That would be Thomas Andrews. There's a tiny misconception out there. 21 said Joseph Bruce Ismay. That is insane. Anyways, there's a little misconception out there. Many people believe that Thomas Andrews was also the chief architect at Harland and Wolff who built Titanic, Olympic, and Britannic. Technically, that is half false. Because while yes, he was the chief architect at Harland and Wolff when Titanic and Olympic were being constructed, he didn't reach that status until Titanic and Olympic had already began construction and were already being built. So technically, you could say that, but he probably did work on some plans here and there, but he wasn't the chief architect who officially designed the ships. Just something to let you know. What was the name of the name of the rescue ship that sailed many of Titanic's survivors to New York? That would be the RMS Carpathia, and 7% said the Californian. The Parisian? I know you guys are probably gonna rage at me in the comments, but... True or false? An actor who survived the sinking of Titanic later starred in a film about the disaster. Okay, this one is true. Dorothy Gibson, yep, that was the girl. So she survived the sinking of Titanic, and then a couple months later, there was a film being filmed about the Titanic, and she was invited to come and play her own character, and she did. And I would really love to see many of us today would really love to see the actual film, but unfortunately all the copies of it were destroyed in a building fire, so unfortunately they're all lost to history. When was the wreck of Titanic found? 1966? 1977? Oh gosh. Imagine if Titanic's wreck was found at the same time Star Wars came out. Then they would have two big news articles to talk about. Highest grossing movie of the time and Titanic's wreck finally discovered. Okay, but in reality, we discussed this before. It was found on September 1st, 1985. Who was the film director who undertook explorations into the Titanic wreck using the footage as inspiration? That would be James Cameron as Steven Spielberg. I guess I get it. 10% of people said Steven Spielberg. They're probably getting confused, but... And there's also a sad thing. James Cameron, he did many dives to Titanic, and one of those dives, which if I'm correct, he filmed for the documentary Ghost of the Abyss, he went down to the Titanic in the early hours of September 11th, 2001. I'm pretty sure you already know where this is going. When he surfaced, his crew told him about the terrorist attack that occurred in New York, about the Twin Towers, the Pentagon, and he was shocked. And if I'm correct, Steven Spielberg was going to make a disaster film about something that was kind of similar at the time, but after the 9/11 attacks, he decided, no, I'm gonna scrap it because it's too fresh in the memory. Although that's kind of ironic considering he made a disaster film about Titanic, but that's for a different this discussion. Stroke. Well done. You are an expert on all things Titanic. Aw, you make me blush, but yeah. Obviously, too easy, as usual. That one was too easy. Okay, I think we're gonna do one more. How much do you know about the Titanic quiz? Let's do this one. Oh, it's one of these things. Okay, so this should be easy. I've seen some people do these similar quizzes, so... Wait, we only got 5 minutes? Okay. In what year did the Titanic sink? 1912, that one's easy. Who is the captain? Edward John Smith. Yep. Who was to the nearest 100? How many people were on the Titanic? 2,200. Whoa. 2,200. Okay, at least they specified to the nearest 100. Otherwise, I would have been. And actually, it's 2,208. Okay. What modern day country had the most passengers on board? England. Wait, what? Okay. Ireland. Wait. Oh, where was Titanic built? Belfast, Ireland. Wait. It's not England? Wait. Oh, wait. Okay, UK. Thanks for the clarification, even though I still technically got that one right. The full name of the Titanic was RMS Titanic. What did RMS stand for? Royal Mail Ship. Yeah. And yes, that means Titanic did carry mail. What company owned the Titanic? White Star Line. Oop. Whoa. I guess it just wanted White Star. I guess that was all it needed to clarify it. Who designed the Titanic? Okay. I'm pretty sure I know who they're gonna say, so I'm just gonna... But we already discussed it, so we're not gonna get into it. Yeah, we're not gonna get into it again, but at least you know the truth. Where did she set sail from on her maiden voyage? Southampton. I thought I was gonna misspell that. I'm terrible at spelling. I always rely on Google Docs when I'm writing my books to auto-correct my spelling for me, so I don't really do much spelling checks, but at least I got it. What was the intended destination? New York. What was the name of the ship that picked up the most of the survivors? Carpathia. There we go. To the nearest 100, how many lives were lost when the Titanic sank? Okay, at least they're saying to the nearest 100. So yeah, 1,500 is the nearest 100 because it's 1,496. How many lifeboats were on board, including collapsibles? That would be 20. When was Titanic built? I accidentally answered that question when I was trying to do this question, but unfortunately, it thought I was stupid. To the nearest 100, how many people survived the sinking of the Titanic? Oh, to the nearest 100? Oh yeah, 712. So it's gotta be. Oops. So it's gonna be 700. Yep. Yep. 14 out of 14. Out of all of these, I got every single question right. Yep. I guess I can confirm it. I am an expert on the Titanic. Alrighty, with that concluded, I can officially confirm for the officialist time, I don't think that, whatever. I can officially confirm that I am a true expert about the RMS Titanic. So it officially confirms it. I'm an expert. You can rely on me for accurate information rather than other people, so always trust me. Okay, in all seriousness, that was very fun. At least I was expecting some of the questions to be about conspiracy theories and whatnot, but luckily they weren't, so at least we got a true answer as to the question, do I know everything about Titanic? Which is yes. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you all so much for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, and click the bell so you never miss out on any more of my historical content, and I will hopefully see you in the next video. Peace.